everybody. Flip and Danny here, founders of the Freedom Real Estate Group family of companies, and welcome to another episode of our podcast called
Freedom Through Passive Income.
Yes.
I said that super slow because you were going super fast.
Welcome to another episode of our podcast. This one is entitled The No Jerk Policy. Danny, take it over.
All right, let's go back to speed. This is a no jerk policy. So I was, writing some scripts and trying to figure out what to talk about. And I thought, this is something that we've talked about as a culture, as a company and organization for a really long time. So let's just throw it in a podcast and see what people think. So the no jerk policy is also called the no a-hole policy. We're just trying to keep it clean here.
Or the no bad people.
But I don't know who came up with it, but it's something that a lot of people talk about. You can Google it and you can see different, somebody, I'm sure somebody is credited with coming up with this
We're not
idea.
the first.
Yes. But it's a lot of what you're going to see is talking about the work environment. And that's, I think, where it came in is to, we all work here, right? And I don't want to work with another jerk. This is like most of my life, pretty much that I'm awake, is right here, like in this office. And so I think that's where it came from. But before we ever made it a policy within our culture or our work environment, we made it a client policy.
Yes.
Because we'd hear complaints, and this guy's doing this, or this gal's doing this, or, blah, blah, blah. And there was a point where we said, hey, we're in our honeymoon phase right now. They haven't even bought a property or invested with us yet. Fire them.
Yes.
And we got this. We empowered our team to say, hey, if this is how you act and this is how you treat us, when we're one of the best freaking companies out there in terms of wanting to provide the best of the best and do everything that we can for our clients. And when things happen, we're transparent about it. We fix it. I feel like there's not a lot of people out there that do this. And when you are that person and you still have people being jerks, it was just fire them. I do not I'm just not going to go there. So that's why I wanted to create this episode, because it's been a big deal for us.
Yep, and then the culture of our company too. It immediately went right from not only clients but also our work environment.
Yes.
If nobody gets hired if they're a jerk, and if they're a jerk, well, usually during the first couple weeks or whatever they're in the company, they're on their best behavior.
Right.
But usually it's not very long after that their true colors come out, and they don't last long.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to work with jerks either.
Yeah. Well, and I saw when I was reading online, when I Googled this to see, I was going to try and remember who it came from.
Right.
Somebody said that as long as you put this in your policy in a work environment, you can actually fire based on it. You have a strict no jerk policy, and here's what that means.
Yep.
And now if you're a jerk, and so it said in that article, it says now everybody's just like, ooh, don't be a jerk. Yep. You get fired.
Exactly.
So we were thinking of some stories where this was an example.
That we can share.
Yeah. We're not going to mention any names, obviously. But there was one client that had bought multiple properties. And you've heard us on podcasts say, if you want to control the situation and if you want to have choices and your eyes on everything, please do it yourself. We are a done-for-you type company where we're going to go in, we're going to tell you what those standards are, we're going to go in, we're going to do our job, we're going to get out. If something goes wrong, we're going to go in and fix it. We had emails that were just so incredibly long. Do this, and I want this, and it ended up going from one person to the next person. Every person was giving some, here, let me help you with this, and they're all giving something. But then they would go to the next person because obviously this person didn't give enough. They would go to the next person, and this is rare for us to have, and that's why this stands out, right? Because we don't have very many of these clients, but when we have them, there was a point where they were already a client and they'd bought multi-properties, so we didn't want to fire them at that point.
Right.
And we were trying to fix the things that were legitimately our fault. But by the end, it was just like, all right, okay, this person is not going to be happy no matter what we do and what we've offered and what we've tried. They're not going to be happy. It is time for that person to go ahead and find a new company who can do a better job for them, that perhaps is in the business to be able to handle somebody that is that hands-on.
Right.
That is not who we are. It's not what we built.
Yep.
And so that's one example of kind of a polite firing. It's not like that we thought he was a jerk. It's just he wanted more attention and wanted more hands-on capabilities, and that's not how we set up our business.
Right. Yeah, there was another couple. It took forever for them to find a place. that they wanted to buy.
Yep.
And they were buying on emotions, which we always tell people right away, this is an investment, don't buy on emotions.
Yes.
But, they didn't like the shutters on the house, on one house, and they didn't like something else about another house, and they finally found the house that they liked, but it had a tree. And I'm not talking like a little tree. I'm talking like a massive tree in the backyard. And they didn't like the tree in the backyard. They said that it was bad for something, and I don't know what. I can't remember what it was. And so we kept getting further and further down the line, and and they've got it's under contract. They go blah 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 blah. And they said, well, we're not going to move forward until we get the tree removed. And so we said, all right, well, we don't normally do this, but we'll go remove the tree, and then we can figure this out later. And we removed the tree. And a week later, they said, yeah, we're not going to buy that house now. And
You're fired.
The entire company just went, wait, what?
Because a big tree like that, let me tell you, that's expensive.
It was not cheap
to remove.
It was not cheap to remove that tree. Plus, it was just a big tree. I hate cutting down trees.
Yes.
Unless we have to, or unless it's dead, or whatever, it has problems or whatever it is. But I hate taking down trees, and that killed me. So when they said that, I was just like, oh, see ya.
Yeah. And then one last story that I'll share is actually came from a friend of ours, and he was saying, hey, I'm on vacation, and so whenever somebody's on vacation and somebody tells us you get that auto reply, I'm on vacation.
Right.
Well, we leave them alone.
Yeah.
And we wait for them to come back. Well, he was telling us a story. He says, I really appreciate you guys. And I really appreciate the fact that you guys leave me alone when I'm on vacation, and then that you respect that time off that I have, because I need downtime too. He says, unfortunately, there's other people that aren't that way, and they email me, they got my out of office reply, and they decided to Facebook message me. And then they decided to text me. Who cares that I'm on vacation? I'm trying to rest. And, there's a point in time in your life where you got to go, that's not the type of people I want to work with. I don't want to surround myself with those people. I want to be around people who enjoy life, want to rest, want to relax, want to respect each other's space, time off, all that stuff. In fact, in our company, it's more like, take a vacation, and everybody's like, do not bother them, because that's important to us. So anyways, we just thought this was a very good episode to share, because it's something we don't talk about a lot, but is very real in business.
Right, reminds me of the one vacation we took where Tiffany told the entire office, do not message Danny or Flip. If you do, I will kill you. Pretty sure those are the actual words that she said. But I'll let you do this.
It was just how we wanted to kind of end the episode. It's just we all have one life. No amount of time or money is worth being miserable or dealing with miserable people. Yes. So find your line of what you're okay with. Actually find what you align with. And then everybody else gets fired.
That's right. Make sure you're heading on over to our website, freedomcapitalinvestments.com, to join our investor club.
Yeah.
And we're also on all the social medias, so make sure you're going out there to Facebook, LinkedIn, to our groups, hang out with the gang, get your questions in. Make sure you're subscribing on YouTube. Make sure you're hitting the like button.
Yeah, hey, if you're not a jerk, hit the like button.
Oh, boom.
Let's see how many likes we get.
There we go. But we like to end all of our episodes with
invest smart.
Live happy. Bye, everybody.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on this show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss.